What's up, Yins? This week on CarDadBill, we have a 2022 Mazda CX-30. That's the small crossover SUV, whatever you want to call that. 2.5 turbo. It's got some good power. Let's go for a ride. First impressions of the CX-30 are pretty standard. I've driven this a few times. This is like the third loan I've had on this one, and they're not bad. They're not bad vehicles. They're small in the interior, they're small overall, but they come with all-wheel drive, they come with the turbo engine, they come with a relatively reliable powertrain, and just the overall package of the CX-30 is very, very reliable and functional. So my first impression is this one's white with black trim, black wheels, the dual exhaust, the nice headlights. The exterior looks great. The interior is handsome as well and laid out pretty well. But let's get to the real review. All right, guys, standing outside the Mazda CX-30, and I don't even know where to start really with this one. It's kind of boring. It's kind of plain. I do like the two-tone with the black wheels. I like the shape overall. I like the shape of the back here, how it comes down pretty quickly. That hatchback design. It stands tall. It has a high stance, high tail lights, and these lights are really cool. They flash when they're on, the turn signals are on, they flash, they kind of fade. Dual exhaust pipes in the back. Just a smooth, small, decent little crossover SUV, but there's nothing really to write home about either. It's pretty standard. Let's go inside. All right, guys, sitting inside the Mazda, and the first thing you're gonna notice is a good layering of material. I'm not gonna lie. It has nice aluminum finishes, leather finishes, stitched. Then you have plastic. Then you have your nice aluminum, polished black surface there for your window buttons. Then the dash just has a lot of little finishes all throughout. But this here bothers me for some reason, because it's just such a big space of nothing. So you have this, then you have your HVAC controls underneath, which are pretty standard. Then up top here, you have your screen, which is worked by this down here. So this down here toggles and presses, and you have your direct selection buttons there. Works the screen up top there. Analog gauges in the middle. These are all rotary gauges all the way around. Your standard cruise control buttons and your audio buttons. Steering wheel, super circle, no flat bottom at all. Paddle shifters up top. Moving down here, standard area to a cup holder with a little bit of storage behind it. Piano black with some design in it. You can see that design there. And then there's your control center. I kind of like this. This slides back and then it opens up. Pretty cool. And then small seats in the back. Let's go take a look back there. All right, so I put the seat back where I would normally sit, and you can see that that's just a small seating area. Static seat belts, but Anna still had some issue getting her seat belt fastened onto this one because it kind of folds forward and it's hard for her to put that buckle in there. Around back, underneath here, let me do that again for you so you can see this flash. Pretty cool. I like that flash. Trunk's open. Not bad. My flashlight is in there. It's not horrible storage wise. but it is small. Not too bad. Let's go for a ride. All right, guys, let's get to the numbers on the CX-30. 22 CX-30 all-wheel drive, 2.5 liter turbo premium. That comes with 227 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque, and that's a lot of power. And that's it's very good for this size vehicle. That's mated to all-wheel drive. It's a 2.5 liter inline four, and it's mated to a 6-speed automatic and all-wheel drive. So you have a basic powertrain, nothing fancy, nothing over the top. It just is functional, it works well, it shifts well, all that good stuff. Let's get out on the road and talk about how it handles the good and the bad. First things first, the good. Let's go over the good. And there's a couple things that stand out to me first off, and it's the solid power, the solid turbo, the solid engine that's under the hood of this vehicle. You expect a vehicle of this size, frankly, to be slow and to have no pickup. But Mazda put the turbo inline four in this vehicle, and it jumps off the line. It has great mid-range power, has great highway power. You're able to cruise at a smooth, comfortable pace on the highway, change lanes, merge, do all that stuff. It's a nice compact SUV, crossover SUV that has that pickup that you really want. So that's number one on my list. Number two, great steering. The Mazda has great steering overall. It goes around bends. It's very flat, and the feel of it, it's not super power assisted. So you have a little bit of feel to it when you need it, and I find that to stand out as one of the things. And then the last thing on my good list, it really comes down to being the value, and the value of the CX-30 overall. And when I say value, I mean for under 40, under 35,000 in some cases, you get yourself a very reliable, good looking, easy to drive crossover SUV. You don't have a lot of gingerbread and nonsense, which is great, and it works and it functions, and it has a little bit of style at the same time. Some of the new Kia vehicles and some of the other vehicles out there have a little bit too much flashbang and not enough normalcy. And yes, flashbang sells cars, but I feel like this Mazda just fits a niche, and it works well. The bad is a short list. There's not a whole lot to it, because when you have a vehicle like this that functions in the proper place that it's put, you don't have a whole lot to complain about, and there's not a whole lot of bad, quote unquote. The first thing, I guess, and I hope this doesn't offend anybody or offend Mazda, but it's boring. It's a boring vehicle. There's not a ton of flash and gingerbread, and I know I said that's a good thing before, because it is a good thing in the scheme of like how you want something to work, but it's just boring. There's just, like, this week that I've had it, like, hear that? It just jumps forward. It's got great power, but this week that I've had it, it hasn't really impressed me overall. It hasn't made me smile. You know, it's nothing in your face. It just works. It's like having a very, you know, adequate car for the week. I don't know how to explain it other than it just works well. And lastly on there, on the bad list, it's got a small interior, small storage space in the back. It's not going to be something that you can carry a ton of hockey equipment, a ton of baseball equipment, a ton of luggage. Your normal grocery runs will definitely, you know, will fit. You're not gonna like not be able to take your groceries home. It's not that small, but it's a small interior. Let's wrap this one up. All right, guys, so wrapping this one up in a nice bow for us today, the Mazda CX-30 Premium Turbo is a great overall vehicle. It's a great commuter vehicle, in-town, highway vehicle. It functions in all scenarios really well, has good power, has lots of good options inside. It's just a decent vehicle, but it doesn't flash. It doesn't have the the charisma that other vehicles have. Doesn't have the character that other vehicles have that are maybe a little bit more flashy in that regard. But I give it a thumbs up for what it is. It's definitely a fun driving vehicle that gets the job done. Real cars, real people for real life. This is CarDadBill signing off this week. I appreciate you guys watching. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.